I'd like to start maybe with a story about my daughter. I think this is a nice tradition for me when I'm saying words about the Parshat to start talking about my daughter, who is almost 2. She's going to be 2 at the end of this month. So she has decided that her favorite color, she decided what her favorite color is. You know what her favorite color is? It's purple. That's right. Yeah, it's purple. So we try to lean into that. For now, we're like leaning into it. So there's a lot of purple things in our house. We just got her purple. She's a purple stroller, right? And there's purple noise canceling headphones for, if there's a big motorcycle, which she seems to like, and different purple toys. She really loves it. And so I'm also trying to teach. I'm trying to speak Hebrew to Lily as much as I can. I read books to her in Hebrew. And especially, she was born in Israel almost 2 years ago. And so, as much as I can, I speak to her in Hebrew, and I try to teach her the word of purple in Hebrew. You know what the word is? Sagol, right? Word sagol, right? So that word sagol actually repeats itself many times in the Bible, but not as sagol. It repeats itself as the word sgula. That word sgula, it derives from that word. It's all part of that, and they call us an am sgula. That's what they call the Jewish people, an am sgula. A purple people, if you will, but it's not what it means. But I kind of like that translation, a purple people. What does it mean? It's a great question. That's what I'm going to talk about. So that's a great segue. That's good. So what does it mean? So in today's Torah portion, in Parshat Re'eh, what we're going to read tomorrow, amongst other things, we're going to read about how the people of Israel are Am Segula. And it says, Ki Am Kadosh Ata LaAdonai Elohecha, Uvecha Bachar Adonai Liyot Lo Le'am Segula. That's better. So Adonai chose us. That's what it says. For you are the people consecrated to your God among all other peoples on earth, to be a treasured people. So there's a standing belief in the history of Judaism that the Jewish people are a chosen people, chosen by God. But question is really chosen to do what? Right? If Am Segula is chosen, I'm going to do this. Is that right? Okay. Okay. Let's break it as much as you want. I'd like to see you running around here. Thanks, Nate. So chosen to do what? That's really the big question here. And different people throughout the centuries said different things. And actually, calling ourselves the chosen people have gotten the Jewish people into a lot of trouble, to say the least, over the years. And part of our Siddur here, part of our Siddur in Romumu, tries to walk away from that chosen word, and we say words like im kol ha'amim, with the other people, instead of mi kol ha'amim, instead of chosen from all the people, we say chosen with, and things like that. But I'd like to really delve into that for just a couple of minutes, because God actually gives us a choice in our Torah portion, Re'eh. He says, Re'eh, natati lefanecha hayom, et habracha ve'et haklala. He says, you get to choose today. I set before you a blessing and a curse, and you get to choose. So it's pretty simple, right? It kind of sounds simple. I'm going to choose the blessing, right? But maybe it's not as simple as that. Maybe we don't see, maybe we don't know what's the blessing and what's the curse. And what should we choose, and how do we know what to choose? So our Torah portion opens with Re'eh, with that word Re'eh. And what does the word Re'eh mean? It's to see. It means to see. Right? First, let's see. So what's going on now? This is off. The mic's. What's that? Now does it work? Does it work? Okay, we're back. So Hashem tells us, see, Re'eh. He says, Re'eh, look, and I put this in front of you. I put the blessing and the curse. All you have to do is look up. If you look up, then you might see the good or the bad. And when I was reading that today, and I was looking at this Torah portion, Re'eh, then I was thinking about this moment that I had this week that really made me open my eyes to something, to my own thought processes. Is that right? Especially here in the city. We moved to New York City a month and a week ago, and we were in New Jersey for a year. Yeah, we were in New Jersey for a year. Before that, we were in Israel, and I've been trying to examine how I'm looking at things around town. And the other day, I went to a hardware store to get a few things. I had to get a new knob, if you must know, for one of our doors. And I was walking around with a bag of 2 different knobs to try them out. And I was walking, and I saw, I'm looking on the street, on Broadway, just a few blocks down. I see on the street a woman who's standing in the middle of the crosswalk, and she is sort of with her hands up like this and yelling at some cars, and the cars are honking at her. They're honking, 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 and she's sort of yelling back at them, and you know, I'm trying to be a New Yorker, right? So I'm it's just the way it is in the city, right? And I start thinking about that. It's just the way it is, and I start walking. But then I looked again. So I looked again at this scene because there was something off about what was going on. And I looked, and I saw what happened. Her bag, it was one of those. It wasn't a plastic bag. It was a paper bag. Her paper bag tore. She did some shopping, and her paper bag tore. And some of her shopping fell. She went shopping, and some of it fell on the floor, and it fell right in the middle of the street. Has that ever happened to you? That happened to me before. It sucked. It really sucks when your bag just falls apart, right? Does that happen when you throw away the garbage, and then it's oh my God, it's awful, awful, right? And so, and I'm looking, and I see that that's what happened. And she was trying to tell the cars that were honking at her. She was saying, "Hold on." She was telling him, "Hold on, I'm trying to pick up my things." The second I noticed that, I sort of took my 2 bags that I was with the knobs, and I sort of ran to her. I said, "Hey, I see what happened here. Let's consolidate." I consolidated all my stuff into one. I said, I walked there. I'm "Hey, I'm a white man. I'm going to stop everything right now." So I stopped the traffic. That's exactly what I was thinking at the time, and I did, and I managed to stop. I stopped the traffic. Nobody honked, and I helped her. We put this stuff in the bag, and she said, "God bless you," and went and took the bus. And it really made me think. First I was ashamed. The first thing I felt was a lot of shame. I felt shame that I thought of that person, that what's going on here is they're just nuts. It's just that's the way it is in the city. And it really made me think about how I need to always look up and not take things for granted. And that was part of when I was thinking about this Torah portion, that re'eh. Can you see that blessing and that curse? Maybe that's the question. Can we see it? Can we see what's in front of us? Maybe that's what God's asking us. And a rabbi that I used to work with a lot in Israel, she had a lot to say about that word Am Segula, chosen people. She had a lot to say about it. One of the main things she would say, she would lean into that. She would say, Am Segula, chosen people. She would say, chosen to do what? It's not what you think. It's not that we were chosen because we're better. No. It's definitely not that. We were chosen for something. Actually, the song that Rebecca and I just sang by Harav Kook, it was written by Harav Kook, who was it was Israel's first official Ashkenazi rabbi, yeah. And he wrote those words, Ben Adam ale lemala ale. One of the other things that he wrote, Harav Kook, he was always trying to consolidate. He was trying to consolidate the religious people in Israel with the secular. And Harav Kook would say that that all of the I'm going to say it in Hebrew first. He said, Kol ha'elyonut shel Yisrael klapei ha'umot hi rak beoskam b'Torah. He says that the only eliteness, the only thing that's elite for the people of Israel on the other nations is how they deal with Torah and how they read Torah. And he says, "Afilu nochri v'osek b'Torah, harei hu kekohen gadol." Even somebody who's not Jewish and he is dealing with Torah, it's just like he's a kohen gadol. It's like he's the high priest. And my thought for today is, if we're saying purple and if we're saying special, it's easy to think, it's easy to say that I'm going to see the blessing, I'm going to see the curse, but I think we really have to look up, and we really have to see what's in front of us sometimes, and not take things for granted. And maybe what we're chosen for is not easy. It's not just, oh, I'm chosen, thank God I'm chosen. It's, I'm chosen to do this hard work that we have to choose to do every day. And it's hard work to not take things for granted, and it's hard work to not go with the flow and just say, that's how it is in New York. You know, that's where the hard work is. And I hope that we'll learn to do that every day. I hope that I'll learn to do that, and I hope that Lily will also learn to do that, and that she'll keep loving purple for a long, long time. Shabbat Shalom.